Good morning again. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yep.
All right, cool. So yeah, I'm Nathan Phillips with ReSource. We launched here in Asheville about a year ago. I see some familiar faces out here, people who've joined up with us at some point of our journey or come across us and got to watch us go through growing pains and learning lessons. And we are not finished with those. So I'm excited to be here, present, share what we're doing, and looking forward to the questions and help from everyone here. So what we're doing is building a decentralized circular economy based on human potential and local resources. And we're doing this by combining the oldest form of trade, barter, with bleeding edge technology of blockchain. We're trying to grow it through very sustainable, scalable, organic methods. I'll get into more specifics of why we're taking that approach, but one of our learned lessons this year is to take our time, go slow, learn lessons, apply and build up. What we're doing can be somewhat complicated, and we have a lot to learn. So I'm going to start what we're doing. As an example of it is started in 1934 in the middle of the Great Depression in Switzerland. A bunch of businessmen were standing around the city square. They were short on cash and customers. They're trying to figure out, how do we get fish? How do we get bread? How do we get beer from each other if we don't have money? So they banded together and they broke out an old school ledger book and started keeping track of who got what from whom. And so the guy who made a kitchen table, for example, could still get his fish, his bread, his beer, but the guy who has fish doesn't need a kitchen table every day, nor do the values add up for like a straight barter trade. So they kept track of the positive and negative balances of everybody that was in this network. And since then, it's grown into over 60,000 businesses in Switzerland. It's still active, 1 to 3% of the annual GDP. And it's credited as being a factor in what's one of the most stable economies in the world. And so that ledger obviously now is digital and it's held by the Veer Bank. They keep it centralized in their business, and they keep track and control of all the accounts, the positives and the negatives of everybody that's in the network. And so we're building something very similar to that. And the reason why we're doing it on the blockchain is because that ledger with the blockchain is now a public ledger. It's not under the control of us at ReSource. We don't keep it private. It's not stored on one server like maybe the Veer Bank has. Hopefully they have backups as well. But ours is stored across hundreds, eventually thousands of different computers, devices, servers. That way, if something were to happen, get wiped out, a flood, a war, catastrophe, what have you, all the data is not lost, the business doesn't go under, it's fully decentralized. And it's also transparent, we don't control it. We can't go in and fiddle with the numbers or do what we want with it. Everyone has access and visibility at all time. And so the way we've taken shape with it is launch the marketplace. This is what's here in Asheville right now, where you can go in and you can get radio advertising, headshots, childcare, exercise, healing, range urgent care, massage therapy, Reiki. Hundreds of businesses are on board here in Asheville, including Mother Earth Food, which you can go to their storefront and get coupons for their store to buy food, including perhaps some really delicious tea. And so I got a $250 coupon to use at Mother Earth Food, and I paid for it with ReSource dollars. And ReSource dollars are used by members to buy and sell in this network. It's price matched with the US dollar, and they're minted by ReSource members. When someone spends into the negative, they're not borrowing money from us. They're creating those ReSource dollars on the spot and backing it with their commitment to repay their debt through their goods and services. So all the ReSource dollars in existence are backed by food, by massage, by web design, by photography. They stay within the marketplace, and they don't go up and down in value because they're backed by real world goods and services. And being a blockchain company, we have our source token. That is our cryptocurrency. There's 100 million that were minted, currently held by over 4,000 investors, and they can use this to underwrite businesses in the marketplace. So people who hold source can stake that as collateral to give credit lines to businesses in ReSource Network at a 1 to 5 ratio. Someone can take $1,000 worth of source tokens, put it on a business, and that business will have a $5,000 credit line. And they get rewarded by asking for a transaction fee, 3%, 5%, 10%, whatever terms they agree to. And so Stephen in Nigeria can support perhaps in brew tea right here in Asheville to get access to web design or whatever it is they need to grow their business or food. Part of what we are as well is a member-owned and member-run organization. Everyone who holds our tokens and everyone who's a member of the network is going to have governance rights, ability to make suggestions. Essentially, run the organization. When we do well and there's enough businesses, and this is growing organically and gets much larger, I won't have a job anymore working directly at ReSource. So basically my job is to work myself out of the job. And so far in the past year, we have over 400 businesses, over $400,000 worth of transactions exchanged in the marketplace, and growing. We have launched in Austin, Los Angeles, Chattanooga, talking also in Silva and Marion, North Carolina. We're testing different markets and different environments to see how this grows. And this is our general launch strategy, which is a lot of what we're figuring out. How do we grow? And food and health and wellness is what everybody connects to. And from then we have business growth services. And we're seeking long-term right here of how we do this sustainable organic scaling, building community that someone can launch this in 10 hours for 10,000 resource dollars, no money out of pocket, so to speak. And we want to last for 10,000 years. You know, we want to be around for a while. And we have some incentives of helping people grow, like ownership. Our ambassador role, people can earn resource dollars or source tokens for bringing people into the network. It's not a multi-level marketing strategy. There's no layers, there's no downlines. I like to be very clear about that. It's just direct referrals. And eventually what we're building over the next 12 to 18 months, when we finish our tech and our platform, is going to be completely open source. So anyone can take this whole network, this whole toolkit, drop it into their city, their country, their community, you name it, and empower people to have different access, a complementary currency to get things that they may need and grow in different directions. And we're really advancing through education of our values, of why we built this and what we're doing, and trying to explain the value behind it of some that are listed here, really based on decentralization, that we all have more in common with each other than not. And that we can, when we band together and come together, really create something that helps and supports each other, and create interdependence amongst each other. And so as we've learned, it needs to be a slow, organic scaling process, and having an opportunity to share and get feedback is where we're at. I'm very excited and thankful to be here today.